Welcome back! Can you believe it? Today is day 7 of our English speaking challenge. One whole week of practicing English.
Hey, how are you doing? I feel like we've talked a few times before, but we never really had a proper conversation. I'm actually trying to practice my English more these days, so I thought it would be nice to just talk normally.
I'm doing pretty well, thanks, and honestly, I'm glad you started the conversation because I'm also trying to improve my English. I think talking naturally is much better than only studying grammar from a book.
Exactly. I can understand English quite well when someone else is speaking, but when I have to answer quickly, sometimes my mind just goes completely blank. Do you ever have that problem when you're speaking English?
Yes, all the time. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to say, but when I actually start speaking, I suddenly forget the easiest words. It's frustrating, but I'm slowly getting better with regular practice.
Same here. I think the biggest problem is that we try to make every sentence perfect before speaking. Then, we spend so much time thinking about grammar that the conversation becomes difficult. I'm trying to focus more on communicating naturally now.
I completely agree with you. I used to stop in the middle of every sentence because I was worried about making a grammar mistake. Now I'm trying to keep speaking even when I'm not completely sure about the sentence.
That's actually a much better approach. Anyway, let's start with something simple. Tell me about yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? And what are you doing these days?
My name is Ali, and I'm from Pakistan. I'm currently studying at university, and I'm doing business studies. Most of my time is spent between university, assignments, friends, and trying to improve myself.
Business sounds interesting. Was it something you always wanted to study, or did you choose it because you thought it would give you better opportunities in the future?
Honestly, I wasn't completely sure when I started. I chose business because I liked the idea of working with people and understanding how companies grow, but now I'm actually enjoying the subject more than I expected.
That's nice. Sometimes we don't really know what we like until we actually experience it. Which subject do you enjoy the most at university? Is there something you could study for hours without getting completely bored?
I really enjoy marketing because it feels creative and practical at the same time. I like learning how businesses attract customers and how a simple idea can become a successful advertisement or campaign.
I can understand why you like it. Marketing is everywhere these days, especially on social media. Sometimes I open YouTube or Instagram for 5 minutes, and suddenly I've seen 20 different advertisements without even realizing it.
That's true, and since I started studying marketing, I notice advertisements much more than before. Sometimes I even think about why a company used a certain picture, color, slogan, or person in their advertisement.
It's funny how learning something changes the way you see normal things. Anyway, what does your normal day look like? What time do you usually wake up, and what do you normally do before leaving for university?
I usually wake up around 7, although sometimes I press the snooze button more than once. I get ready, have breakfast, check my phone for a few minutes, and then leave for university.
Honestly, I understand the snooze button problem. Sometimes I set 3 alarms and still somehow convince myself that 5 more minutes won't hurt. What do you usually have for breakfast before you leave?
I normally have eggs, bread, and tea because it's quick and easy. On weekends, I have more time, so I enjoy having a proper breakfast with my family instead of rushing out of the house.
That sounds good. How do you usually get to university? Do you drive yourself, take a bus, or use some other kind of transport?
I usually take the bus because it's convenient and doesn't cost too much. The journey normally takes around 30 minutes, although traffic can make it longer sometimes.
30 minutes is actually not bad. Do you ever use that travel time to practice English? I feel like traveling is a good opportunity because you can listen to conversations without needing to sit down and study.
Yes, I sometimes listen to English conversations or podcasts while I'm traveling. I don't always understand every word, but I try to understand the main idea and repeat some useful sentences quietly.
That's a smart habit. When I first started listening to English, I thought everyone was speaking unbelievably fast. After some time, though, I realized that I was just unfamiliar with the expressions and pronunciation.
I had exactly the same experience. At first, I wanted to understand every single word, and that made listening stressful. Now I focus on the overall meaning first, and I try to understand the smaller details later.
So, tell me honestly, why are you working on your English now? Was there a particular situation that made you realize you really needed to become more confident?
Yes, actually, a few months ago, I had to speak English with someone, and although I understood everything they said, I couldn't respond properly. I knew the words, but I became nervous and couldn't express myself clearly.
I've experienced something similar. It's strange because after the conversation ends, you suddenly remember all the perfect answers you could have given. Then you think, why didn't I say that 5 minutes ago?
Exactly. That happens to me too. After the conversation, I suddenly remember all the vocabulary I needed. That experience made me realize that knowing English and actually using English are two different things.
That's such an important point. So how are you practicing now? Are you taking classes, watching videos, speaking with friends, or doing something else?
I'm doing a little bit of everything. I watch English videos, listen to conversations, learn useful vocabulary, and most importantly, I try to speak every day even if I make mistakes.
How much time do you normally spend practicing? I know some people make a huge plan for the first day and then completely stop after 3 days because it becomes too difficult.
I've done that before, actually. Now I try to practice for around 30 minutes every day because it feels realistic. I'd rather practice 30 minutes daily than study for 3 hours once and then do nothing for a week.
That makes a lot of sense. Consistency is probably more important than studying for a huge number of hours. Do you ever record your voice while practicing English?
Yes, and honestly, I hated it the first few times. Hearing my own voice felt strange, but after doing it regularly, I started noticing my pronunciation problems and became more comfortable listening to myself.
I think recording yourself is one of those things that feels uncomfortable but actually helps a lot. You can hear your mistakes much more clearly than when you're just speaking in your head.
Exactly. Sometimes I record the same topic twice, maybe 1 week apart, and compare the recordings. When I notice that I'm speaking more smoothly than before, it gives me a lot of motivation to continue.
That's a really good idea. Now let's forget about English for a moment. What do you normally do when you have a completely free evening and nobody is asking you to study or work?
If I have a free evening, I usually meet my friends, watch a movie, or just stay home with my family. Sometimes I don't want to do anything productive, I just want to relax and clear my mind.
I completely understand that. Sometimes people feel guilty for relaxing, but I think your brain needs a break too. What kind of movies do you usually enjoy watching?
I mostly like comedy movies because they help me forget about stress and make me laugh. I also enjoy action movies, especially when I'm watching something with my friends.
Do you prefer watching movies alone or with other people? Personally, I think a funny movie is much better when you're sitting with friends and everyone is laughing at the same scene.
I definitely prefer watching movies with friends because we can discuss the story and make jokes during the movie. Sometimes the conversation after the movie is actually more entertaining than the movie itself.
That's true. Speaking of friends, how many people would you say you're genuinely close to? I mean, people you can actually call when something is bothering you.
I have about 3 really close friends. I know many other people from university, but these 3 are different because I can talk to them about personal things without feeling uncomfortable.
That's actually better than having a huge group of friends. How did you become close to your best friend? Was it something that happened quickly, or did you slowly become friends over time?
We met at university and started talking because we were in the same class. At first, we only talked about assignments, but eventually we started discussing our families, goals, problems, and everyday life.
That's usually how real friendships happen. You don't plan them, you just keep talking to someone and one day realize that they've become an important part of your life. What do you usually do when you meet your friends?
We usually go out for coffee, eat something, or walk around and talk. We don't always need an expensive plan because honestly, the conversation is more important than the place.
I completely agree. Some of the best conversations happen when you're just sitting somewhere and talking about completely random things. What do you and your friends usually talk about?
We talk about everything, honestly. Sometimes we discuss careers, money, and future plans. But then somehow the conversation becomes completely random and we end up laughing about something that happened years ago.
That sounds like a normal friendship. Now tell me about your family. Are you close to them? And do you usually spend much time together?
Yes, I'm quite close to my family. We don't always agree with each other and sometimes we have small arguments, but at the end of the day, I know they support me and want the best for me.
That's important. Who do you usually talk to when you have a serious problem? Is there someone in your family who understands you especially well?
I usually talk to my sister because she listens carefully and doesn't judge me immediately. Sometimes I don't even need advice, I just need someone to listen. And she's really good at that.
I think that's something we all need sometimes. We don't always need someone to solve our problems. Sometimes, just talking to someone we trust can make the problem feel much smaller.
Exactly. When I keep a problem in my head, I usually make it bigger than it actually is. After talking to someone I trust, I can look at the situation more calmly and think about what I should do next.
Let's talk about the future now. Where do you honestly see yourself 5 years from now? Forget about giving the perfect answer. What would you really like your life to look like?
I'd like to have a successful career and become financially independent. I also want to support my family, travel to different countries, improve my communication skills, and become more confident as a person.
Those are good goals. Do you think money is the biggest part of success? Or do you think success means something more than just earning a lot?
I think money is important because everyone needs financial security, but I don't think it's everything. For me, success also means having good relationships, enjoying my work, growing as a person, and having peace of mind.
I like that answer. Sometimes people become so focused on earning money that they forget to enjoy the life they're working so hard to build. Is there any country you really want to visit one day?
Yes, I'd really like to visit the UK. I'm interested in its history and culture, and I'd also like to experience studying or working there if I ever get the opportunity.
That's true. What about Pakistan? If you could choose one place to visit next, where would you go?
I'd love to visit Hunza because I've seen so many beautiful pictures of the mountains and valleys. I think it would be amazing to spend a few days there, especially with close friends.
I've heard so many good things about Hunza too. If you went there with your friends, would you spend the whole trip taking pictures, or would you actually put your phones away and enjoy the moment?
Honestly, we would probably take hundreds of pictures at first. But after a while, I'd want us to put our phones away, sit somewhere peaceful, and just enjoy the mountains without constantly looking at a screen.
That sounds like a perfect trip. Okay, one final question before we finish. What is the biggest personal improvement you want to make this year?
I want to become more confident, especially when speaking English. I also want to stop overthinking my mistakes because sometimes I know the answer but stay quiet because I'm afraid of saying something incorrectly.
I think a lot of English learners can relate to that. The truth is, you don't need perfect English before you start speaking. You become better by speaking, making mistakes, correcting yourself, and then trying again.
I completely agree. I'm slowly learning that making mistakes doesn't mean I'm bad at English. It simply means I'm practicing, and every mistake gives me a chance to learn something that I didn't know before.
Exactly. So, if someone is watching this Day 6 conversation and they're also learning English, what advice would you give them based on your own experience?
I would tell them to stop waiting until they feel ready. Start with simple sentences. Speak every day. Listen carefully. Learn useful expressions. And don't be embarrassed when you make mistakes.
That's a great message. And remember, this is only Day 6 of our 30-day English challenge. We still have many days ahead, so don't worry if your English isn't perfect yet. The goal is progress, not perfection.
Yes, exactly. If you're practicing with us, don't compare your English with someone who has been speaking for years. Compare yourself with the person you were a week ago and notice even the smallest improvement.
So, are you ready to continue this challenge tomorrow? Because I don't want us to practice for 6 days and then suddenly disappear on Day 7.
Absolutely. I'm going to continue because I really want to see how much my English improves after 30 days. And honestly, I'm curious to see whether I'll still make the same mistakes at the end.
Then, it's a promise. We'll keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep improving even on the days when we don't feel motivated. That's probably the most important part of learning any skill.
Deal. And if you're watching this, practice along with us. Don't just listen to our conversation, pause the video, repeat our sentences, and answer the questions yourself.
That's it for day 6. Thank you for practicing with me today. Remember, your English doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to be brave enough to speak and consistent enough to keep practicing.
And we'll see you on day 7. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid of mistakes. Every conversation you have today is helping you become a more confident English speaker tomorrow.
Do you feel your English is getting better? Then don't stop here. Subscribe to our channel and complete with us. Subscribe now. We'll practice new English conversations. Let's complete all 30 days together. See you in